Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of AngularAir. I'm your host, Justin Schwarzenberger, and today we are going to be talking about creating and maintaining documentation. But before we get started, let's have a little announcement about the upcoming AngularUp conference. AngularUp is one of Europe's largest Angular conferences, brings together international and local speakers, and will also include a magical 2-day tour to explore the beauty of Israel. So this event is going to be held on June 25th in Tel Aviv, and more info can be found on angular-up.com. And you can use a special code, AngularAir, all one word, and get a 10% discount on tickets. So check that out if you're interested in going. All right, joining us on our show today, we got a couple panelists. We got Alyssa with us. Alyssa, what's going on?
Hi.
And
I like your hat.
And we got Austin, the Talking Panda.
How's it going, guys?
And our guest for today, we've got Vincent joining us. Vincent, how's it going?
Yeah, fine. Hi, guys.
And we have Wassim joining us. Wassim, how's it going?
Hello, guys. Doing well. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thanks for coming on. All right. So we're talking documentation, right? So what are we talking about when we need it? We're talking about documenting our code, our Angular code. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, I guess.
Yes.
All right. And are we talking documenting everything, like the code, class code, services, stuff like that, documenting how we use the code and implement the code? What do we want to kind of focus on first?
Wassim, you want to start? Or?
So I guess, yeah, it's like, to put it easy, it's like TypeDoc, but for Angular. And at the end, you get a bundle with everything inside, like every component, every service, every pipe you document with some nice extra features by Compodoc, which Vincent is going to talk about, like this nice dependency graph, but also some...
Is the dependency graph in Minecraft?
No. But you also have like something like the coverage of your documentation as well. We'll talk about this later.
Okay, so this is like auto-generated documentation for us based on some stuff that we put in our code?
Yes, that's true.
Yes, it's based on general code commands you put on your code and GSDoc tags you also add on your code, and after the tool generates static pages for your documentation.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned JSDoc, right? So that's something for people that may not be familiar. I believe it's you're putting kind of comments and stuff in your code that can be read to identify things like method parameters, method signatures, properties, things like that on your code. Is that correct?
Yes, but the problem with GSDoc is that sometimes the information in the GSDoc tags are not dated with the code, for example, sometimes. And the tools use the TypeScript parser and a compiler. So the main informations are used by types or are in the code and not GSDoc tags. We just support the GSDoc tags supported by TypeScript, who are returns, maybe params, example, etc., but not all the GSDoc tags available. And it's better because most of the time we have the main and the updated information about, for example, parameters or types, etc., with TypeScript. So
yeah, the Compodoc basically under the hood, what it does is like it reverse engineer your Angular application and parses all your TypeScript code and extract all the metadata, all the information about types, about parameters, about return types, all that stuff, and like put it into some sort of documentation. It also, like for instance, reverse engineer all your routes and then gives you some information about that also.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Is there
Yes.
a lot of is there a lot of ability to customize what it outputs, or how does that work?
Not for the moment. We just have a static page generated, and you can customize, for example, if you want graph or not, or if you want to display exclude some file, etc. But we will add some extra features during the next weeks.
It's completely doable. It's just on the roadmap, actually.
Gotcha. Cool.
What about theming? Does it have, can I make it look like my pretty components website type thing?
We have now 6 or 7 general teams are based with the main structure of the templates, but maybe there is an issue on GitHub about giving the ability, like TypeDoc, to extend the templates and add an external template or an external team during the generation.
It's interesting that you bring up TypeDoc. How is this kind of different from TypeDoc? I guess you talked about it kind of reverse engineers your Angular components, so it's doing it's taking TypeDoc to the next level, right? Before starting the project, I searching about Angular documentation tool, and the only one available is TypeDoc, but is only available for TypeScript projects and is not dedicated for Angular. And the other main problem for me is TypeDoc tried to compile your project before generating the documentation. Sometimes it can break, etc. And I study TypeScript compiler, and I found that it can be available to parse and generate, like Wassim explained, the AST of your code without compiling it. So for me, the only difference between TypeDoc and Compodoc is there is no compilation of the project, and it's dedicated to Angular. So you have extra feature like metadata, template, etc. All the environment or ecosystem of Angular. Are you using the Angular compiler or Angular language services to do any of this?
No, just for now we are just based on a TypeScript compiler.
So yeah, basically what Vincent is trying to say is we are just using the TSC, the TS compiler, TypeScript compiler, and not compile your Angular application in the AOT mode, because of some known issues. So we only analyze like the static information about your code. But actually we tried, I tried on my side to use the ngC for the graph dependency UI, but it kind of worked because all the issues with reference functions, all that stuff in IoT. So for now, we're sticking with TypeScript compiler, but yeah, probably for the future we might move to both the language service and the ngC.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to talk about this Compodoc, and we're really going to dig into it and see it in action. But before I think we go further in that, let's talk about why people would want to do this documentation for their code, right? Like why and at what level do people want to do it, and what benefit does it give us, right? Let's say we're using TypeScript for our Angular application, and we get this strong typing, and we get things like IDEs and editors that light up as we start to use things like services and methods and stuff like that. So now we've got some things like autocomplete and IntelliSense giving us feedback on this stuff. Where does the documentation fall into play in terms of a valuable asset for us as a team, us as developers, that sort of thing?
For me, it's on my side. It's about team and guys, you're working with us, and when you're working on a team, or maybe you are on the same room, but sometimes you are remote, etc. And having information about the code or your
your folk code yesterday, for example, and having information directly in IDE. It's very easy with TypeScript, but having on a more deeper view about all the project, about all the components, directives, etc., available in your project, it's very for me important, because sometimes you are focused on one model, for example, and you want to know what is, for example, the inputs of another component you are using, for example, a shared component, etc. And it's better to have this main view of the app. And for example, and also for open source projects, etc., who are giving or sharing code online.
So I think another aspect that starts to surface itself there is that whatever code you're using in your IDE or editor at that given moment, you get this IntelliSense or autocomplete, right? But it's those other things that you don't know that's available to your application, other functions, maybe pipes in Angular or other services that you want to know about before you go writing that into your component or whatever you're working on, right? And the docs give us a way to discover that and understand that about our application, just like you're saying.
So yeah, and the docs could also be like for yourself, like for your future you, if you take your code like in 6 months and try to read it again, like, okay, what was I trying to do in this method?
You're saying you don't remember everything you ever wrote?
No, because like when you get to work on like many projects at the same time, you like switching context is really, really hard. And especially like if you're a consultant like Vincent and I, we are working with many teams, like probably in the same week. So you really need to try and document like and probably like everything, like every decision you make in your code, especially if it's like a weird and bizarre code, you write like some special formula or I don't know. So in this context, you really need to put some extra information, like in in language, not in code, unless like you put like explicit variables names like 26 characters.
So do you have any advice for people who like don't document their apps and they want to get started, but obviously the app is already in motion. So do you just start by trying to explain an over hierarchy of this is how things work in our app, or would you pull in something like Compodoc and like, I don't know, what do you guys think?
Vincent, you want to take this or?
Yes, for me, I've used the tool for reverse engineering or doing a big analysis of an external project we gave to my company, and I take the tool, generate the documentation, and I can have a clear view of what are the main components, the graph, all the modules, etc. And it's a good entry point for starting the analysis of the project and trying to find where are the deep code or etc. or the main components.
So that would be like an initial, okay, I want to generate this map of the application. But as far as how you guys are using it in your apps, does it regenerate every time you save, or how often does it do that?
We have a watch mode. You can, for example, start the command, and after in watch mode, every file you update or you add or you delete, the documentation is regenerated. Okay. Only the part we need, and it can be a mode during, for example, during a 1 hour documentation task. You can have your documentation up to date on your browser and focused on what documents or commands you are writing, and you can see in live mode the rendering in your browser.
Well, that's cool that it only does what I guess is being updated and not the whole thing. I was thinking it could be pretty slow if every like save or something it's doing the entire sitemap again. But I guess if you said it's only doing what you're updating, right?
Yes, it generates. It generates only the file well updated and the dependencies around this file for now.
Okay.
But you can actually, with documentation, you could probably use it in your CI, like Travis or Jenkins, and have it built in every commit or in every release. So you can ensure that you have the latest documentation. But yeah, using a tool like Compodoc, actually you can have both at the same time, like a big overview of your application if you are just interested in the higher level architecture of your app, which gives you Compodoc is using a tool under the hood called ngD, which generate the graph, only the graph, not the documentation. So if you're only interested in the higher architecture, you could only use ngD to generate like an image, without any extra information. But with Compodoc, you can also have like this inner documentation, like on your method level or class level, on all the extra stuff. So it gives you both worlds, actually.
Okay, so I want to back up for a second. Did I get clear that I could take Compodoc and apply it to my existing application and not add any additional documentation right now and get some value out of it right away?
Yes, it starts with TypeScript, so you get metadata from the AST tree. So all the types, interface, class, properties, functions will be available like TypeDoc. But after we add extra feature dedicated to Angular, like metadata, template, etc. Routes.
If your app compiles okay with TypeScript today, it should compile with Compodoc.
That's really awesome. And then I'm assuming then as we go forward and we start writing more code, we're going to get more documentation, provided we're using TypeScript and everything with that. That's a low barrier to entry right there.
Yeah, it's called start using it, right? Like that's amazing.
The power of the tool is based on TypeScript. The major feature is TypeScript, which should give us the ability to have information and about types, etc., directly without adding GSDoc before. For example, in ECMAScript 6, for example, there is a big and good project called ESDoc, which use mainly GSDoc under the hood, and the main problem is maybe sometimes tags cannot be updated with the types of the code inside the property or the function, etc.
Nice. So what about documentation around implementation usage? So for example, writing documentation that explains how to use this component in different scenarios, right? Like I could use this component with 2 inputs or only 1 input. You want to show that. Is there a home for that in Compodoc as well, or is it mainly just surfacing what the actual code is doing?
We have 2 scenarios for that. You can, if the text you want to add is not too long, you can add directly in the comments you put before your component metadata. Or we have the support of Markdown files. Or if you put a Markdown with the same name as your component in his folder, we add a tab and we supply the Markdown HTML view of your component. So with that, you can explain a bit more what is the purpose of your component, etc.
So like one is in line in the component and one is in a Markdown file that's somehow linked to that component?
Yes.
Yeah, with the same name. Yeah.
Oh, it's just the same name, but .markdown, and then it knows, like, does it matter where that Markdown file is in the app? Like, does it need to be in the same root folder or something?
It needs to be in the same folder, but sometimes we have guys who put an issue about putting many components in the same folder. For now, we support readme.markdown or the name of the component .markdown. If there is more component in your folder, you can use this syntax.
So I think Compodoc should be flexible about this this decision. So probably could support both scenarios.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. I like it.
So I assume that it doesn't work with ES5 Angular.
No. We are based around TypeScript, so maybe we are in the roadmap. There is support of AngularJS 1 project with TypeScript, but only with TypeScript.
Yeah, today the main strength and weakness of Compodoc is TypeScript, actually, because it only supports TypeScript because we are using TypeScript to extract all the metadata automatically for you, so you don't have to write all the stuff. Just focus on implementation details and specific methods documentation.
Well, that's all right, Austin, because you're pretty confident with TypeScript now, right? So
Yeah.
I'm coming around.
Awesome. Well, hey, you guys want to show some stuff? You got some stuff that you can throw up here we can kind of see in action, or?
Vincent?
Yes, maybe I can share the demo of the app. It's the demo available on the website. I will share, try to find this, maybe this one. No, not this one, sorry. Try to, yes. Yeah, maybe. So here
this is open source, right? It's free. Anybody can go ahead and grab it, right?
Yes, I can. Yes, it's available on this GitHub URL, and we have a to-do MVC demo project based on it's a project generated with Angular CLI, and we can show all the features of the project with this demo. So you have now the main view of your documentation, which is if it's available on your project, it's a README at the root of your project. If you have not README file, we can switch to the overview page, where you can see the main view where Wassim was talking before, about the graph of your application. There is only here the module views. There is no imports, declaration, etc. here. There is only the modules, but it can put a clear view about what is the structure, what are the main modules available. And after we have a list of what are the how many modules you have, components, etc., routes, and after you can go deeper in inside all the categories with the left menus. For now, we can start maybe with modules. We have a clear page of a list of all your modules available, and after we can browse inside each module to find, for example, all the declaration, imports, etc. For this module, there is others where are more information, for example, declaration, etc. And after you can
lazy loaded modules as well, lazy loaded routes.
Yes, we will see after. Yes, we support lazy loaded model, but with a few gotcha for now. But yes, we can. All the models found with a TypeScript parser and files listed in a project. So lazy module only are only available in the roots page we will see after. And for each file, you also have an info page, and after you have you can see the source code of the file if you want to find extra information in the code. And after, for each, for example, this module, we have a component available, and you can switch to the component view of, for example, this little component. You can see the like modules. You have general info, the description, some metadata, and after you can see the source code. You can have the template of your component, or which is for now it's here it's an external template, but sometimes you have maybe I have one with direct template. Maybe. I don't see. It's don't remember which one. Yes.
And what Vincent forgot to mention, it's all of this is generated automatically for you.
Yes.
That's with one single line of code.
Yes, with just one. Yes, you launch the tool, and after you get all the static pages. And for now, yes, we have for this component, it's an inline template in the source code. Of you can switch to, we have the template available in this view, and after you have all the constructor of the component, the methods available, properties like you have in TypeDoc. You can switch, for example, in with the source code to see, for example, the implementation of one property of one function. We have also DOM tree view of the template of your component. For example, for this one, you can see what is the tree of your component in the DOM view. Maybe switch to another component. For now, in the list component, we have and repeat about to-do components. So maybe you can switch and move to this component directly with the graph. And after you have also all the information we have seen before. We discussed before about the README implementation. So for now, this component has a dedicated Markdown file to see the implementation of the component. Or it's just a documentation purpose. It's not very deep documented, but
so that's the Markdown file right there. That's
yes.
coming to the README tab, and then if you put something in line, will it also come in on the README tab?
No, it will be available here. So it's only it's the problem I mentioned before. It's if you have a small description, you can put it in when you see the. Yes, it's this comment it's available here in the description, or you can sometimes maybe we have one with extra document here for now. This component has information here, you can see, and you can take this in this part of this page.
I see.
Yeah.
And maybe you can put extra deeper information in an external file. For now,
so can I put cat chiffies in my documentation and it show up here?
Sorry, I don't understand well.
Animated GIFs.
GIFs.
GIFs. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can supply an external folder with screenshots or picture or GIF, and you can put an animated cat if you want in your docs. And embed it in your Markdown, like for now in the root Markdown, or just a screenshot of the app, which are embedded like a Markdown syntax. It's the same as when you are using Markdown in your GitHub or in a specific project. You can yes, you can also embed external assets. And after we have so directives are the same view as components. And after you have general package or folder about classes available in your project. For now, we have a to-do class. It's the same view as you can get in TypeDoc, for example, with all information about properties, the types, documentation about, for example, this fake method. We have extra feature or extra information here. You can get it in the info view. You can see if it's a static method, private, etc. And for now, we just have that, but it's it can be a cool view of all your class available in your project. We have sometimes links if in for example, here it's an interface of the project. You can have a direct link inside, or maybe sometimes I don't remember. If it's a type, general Angular type, we can move to the official documentation with some links. Maybe we'll try to find maybe in to-do store. I don't remember. Sometimes we have.
Is that a feature that's in there right now? Is the link to the
Yes.
Angular docs?
Yes. Trying to find a file where there is. Or maybe later we'll try to find it. But it's like in a module view. Sometimes for information you are switching to the official documentation about the, for example, declaration anchor. And for types, we also, if we parse extra types and we found there are official types of Angular, we can link to the official documentation. For now, after that, we have also the services you can supply to in your application. It's like also before the other file, you have properties, functions, etc. And the source code view too. Also, after general TypeScript, for example, interface also available here. It's like in TypeDoc too. And you also have pipes. It's dedicated to Angular. And after we have the routes view. The three last pages are general pages about, for now, it's the routing information of your application. So we only support for now routes who are writing with only we don't support variables in for example, for now in routes definitions. If there is one route which is inside a variable which could be imported in your project, we don't support it right now, but we will work on that next weeks.
Yeah,
there is an issue on that. And also in for external for components with sometimes there are main metadata who could be for example dynamic with a variable. We also don't support it right now, but we are working on it too. But the goal of this page is to also have a clear view of what is the structure, what is the routing of your app. You can see the main modules, and also this about module is a lazy module, lazy loaded module. So you have this little information here, and after you can go deeper inside all the modules loading and all the components available. And you can switch to each pages if you want, and you can have and see quickly all the routes available in this page. And we'll finish with two little pages. We have a mix page with all the general variables available in your project, or variable
like
functions. Yes, for constants, enums, etc. And we also have added clear coverage table about what are the files were well documented and what are those were not. For example, this one, there is a, or this one, there is not.
What is it counting as like well documented?
We are counting all the statements of your, for example, maybe we'll start with another more deep, maybe to-do model, for example. We are counting all the statements about properties, functions, etc. And if each one property or function has a doc comments for now, for example, like that, we only incremented a counter about that, and we are only doing this calculation.
Yeah, it should have this special doc block.
Yes, for now, you can see on the table the to-do model has 8 statements, and there are only 5 with a doc comment block. And yes, we also add in the calculation the documentation of the components of your class, the extra, the main comments you put at the beginning of your file too. And that's it. And also maybe sometimes you can want to find something. You can search with the search bar and quickly switch to this page if you want.
Just imagining like how much easier it would have been to jump on new projects with something like this already existing. Just even to see like the routes, right? Like, and what's pointing where is just like so powerful. Yeah.
Well, yeah, even this on your own app existing is just so awesome to know that this tool can do all of this stuff, surface all this stuff, give you visual of all these things, auto-generate all this stuff. It's pretty amazing, all the stuff you guys have here going on. It's pretty killer. What the list on the side right now, it's just kind of like a flat list for components and directives, alphabetical order. Is that correct? Is there any, are you guys planning to do any kind of grouping organization on that in terms of maybe modules that they're in or anything like that?
Yes, there is an issue on that. We will try to add an option to group and link components with their parent modules. And for now, about module, there is a about component, and we can see the child components inside, or maybe all the child or declaration available in this module will be listed here and not in the component panel. So we are working on that too.
Yeah, this is really, really, really cool. So I'm assuming then with the documentation coverage, if I plop this into my existing app right now and I fire this thing up, I'll probably have low documentation coverage because I haven't added any of the comments and stuff. Would that be correct?
Well, if you have missing doc blocks, I guess, yeah.
Can you show us what some of that documentation that you guys are talking about to get that enhanced, documentation looks like? What I would put in my code type thing?
So, Wassim, you want to answer?
I was just curious what the code,
It's, I think, yeah, you could show him like sample code, Vincent, but I guess it's just normal doc blocks, the
Yes, yeah, okay.
usual comments, like multi-line comments.
Yes, for now, for this this information here, you have only these two lines you put in your code, yep. And after when you see the official doc, about the commands, we have information. The only tags we support are returns, param, link you can use for linking with other components or feature in your app, and example. it's the only 4 tags which TypeScript compiler supports, and you can do what you want with that with only this. Maybe with TypeScript, maybe returns don't be on, for example, mandatory or params. You can only add information, just normal text and example or link, and the other information about returns or params will be available with TypeScript. So TypeScript parser. So just 2 lines of text, which will be also just usual.
So what if you have something like a tutorial or a how to do this thing with our app that doesn't really necessarily fall under a single component? Would that just go in the overall app's README, or is there another, I don't know, branch inside of Compodoc that you can add tutorials and things like that?
So your question is good, because I have missed to show you something. We also support the ability to give the tool, for example, the structure of. I will open the demo project for which can directly understand the demo project. There is an external folder here with external markdowns. We only we support a structure like maybe a famous tool which is Gitbook, and you give us a summary, which is a JSON about the structure of your external little documentation. And after, with all these files, we generated a dedicated menu here when you can navigate inside all the markdown files you supply, and maybe add what you say, a tutorial. Here there is just a list of actions, and I need to add the external doc here, but you can put, if you want, the tutorial pages here with just only markdown files and a little structure inside.
Nice, that's awesome.
Since you brought up Gitbook, do you guys support plugins like they do?
Not right now, but maybe you can also add this feature too. We just added recently at the beginning of the year, but for now we are in 1.0 beta mode, and we want to try to fix all the main bugs and try to fix and
before getting too feature crazy.
Yeah, we want to stabilize all the stuff, and having a tool works very well, which support variables or more and more scenarios. But parsing static analysis is a very complicated stuff, and our TypeScript helps us very well, but we have to do also extra stuff after, and we need
in order to clean the data and sanitize all the.
Yes, all the stuff, for now, supporting extra structure, or maybe also a big project. We have a little issue with a big project with hundreds of components and models. We need to fix that too before adding all the other feature.
Well, this thing's pretty feature rich right now. I mean, you guys have so many things that this thing does. It's really, really killer. Yeah, how does it handle when you got a large application? I mean, is that kind of stuff you're dealing with right now in terms of if you got a ton of components and stuff? Is this thing gonna hold up right now, or?
Yeah, it will work, but maybe you will have maybe 1, 2, 3, or 4 minutes of generation before giving the documentation, or maybe the initial rendering, and after, if you are in watch mode, there will be a delta rendering. But we need to parse all the files before generating the doc, so it can take sometimes to generate with tons of models of components. or fast.
And yeah, and
Makes
again
sense.
here, actually, we're relying on TypeScript compilation speed, so.
But then in the UI for like the display of all that component tree and everything all at once, does that handle a lot of them in there?
I guess for now, there was and there's still an issue with the graphs, actually, because even if, as you could see, like from all the modules, components, tabs, we only show like the main information. But because when I started working on ngD, which is this tool that shows a graph, actually like it shows everything, like like exports, import, directives, services, and it's really not readable. By the way, I'm still working on it. So like in order to output a readable graph, actually, like not in tree representation, but probably another representation. So for now, with Compodoc, you can only target what you want to like highlight. So I guess it should be readable, but if you go into the overall view, yeah, you need to zoom in, zoom out in order to.
Yes, we are in the examples of ngD. ngD, we have this file for now, or maybe there are SVG, but it's big, and also our horizontal graph, and also not very easy to navigate inside.
Yeah. So maybe one of the remaining tasks is to rewrite ngD and figure out a nice way to represent the graph. So yeah, probably I can like ask you guys to send us on Twitter your ideas on how you would like to represent the graph. Like, I know there's some special graphs. Like I've been studying like all the libraries recently, and all the UX that are needed to represent a readable graph with a decent amount of information, like radial, or I don't know. It's not an easy task.
I've actually done quite a bit of work with graphs. So I was actually looking through your code just now to see which graph algorithm you were using.
So actually, this version that is recently in Compodoc, it's well, actually, it's using Graphics on the server. So it renders, it uses the Graphics DSL and renders the graph on the server, like in Node, and then outputs an SVG, which is then embedded in the Compodoc. But for the next version, I'm working on like a client rendered graph. So ngD would only output a JSON like representation, and then send to the browser and use any like JavaScript UI graph library to render on the client, which would be more flexible, So you can use your own probably if you want.
Like here in the DOM tree view of each component, we use Viz.js. Is a good library for displaying. It's the dynamic SVG, or maybe we'll switch to this view with the JSON give ngD.
Sweet. So what about the story for deploying this thing? So if we want to generate our documentation and put it on a server in our internal network or externally, that sort of thing, what's the story around that?
It depends of the architecture of the project, but sometimes there are guys who generate the doc with a CI tool, and they upload the documentation after on a server, or render the docs with, for example, github.io. There are maybe a different scenario. We supply HTML pages. So after you can do what you want with and store and embed the docs where you want.
Are you guys familiar with Istanbul? The test coverage?
What's it called?
Istanbul. I don't know if the pronunciation is well. Like it's test like TDD coverage report, which outputs similar HTML files, and then it's like folder. You take it and you deploy it on your server, like it's static folder.
Okay, so it's generating just static files for us, and then we just can host it wherever we want to deal with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Looks really awesome, guys. So cool that you can get so much value out of it with, just out of the box, literally. And
this is thanks to TypeScript, actually.
Yes, I said before, TypeScript is doing the main part of the job. After we are doing extra stuff to put it in a clear view and doing generated pages, but all the information comes from TypeScript. So they are doing a good job on that side.
Good job, Microsoft.
Yeah, that certainly empowered it, but everybody who worked on this thing sure put in a lot of time, because that's massive. I mean, some of us have built our own documentation solutions and stuff, and it's a lot of work to cover all of that content and surface all of that stuff and all those scenarios. And this thing, Compodoc, has so many that it covers out of the box. It's pretty amazing.
The goal when I started the project was to not replace, but having an easy tool to use. And before, with AngularJS project, we used the dgini generator created by the Angular team, which doing a very good stuff, and it's very powerful, but maybe sometimes difficult to start. And I just want to have one command line to start, and waiting 10 seconds and having my docs.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really see any reason why somebody shouldn't just pull this down, and even if they don't write any documentation additionally in their system, just add this to your build process and spit this thing out somewhere so that you can see it for your projects. I mean, it seems like it's just a big benefit, even if you don't take on any additional code writing or documentation writing.
But in IT, sorry, Wassim, in IT projects, the two first tasks were delayed when the project is a bit late, is testing and documentation. So maybe if you have a tool like that, you can have this information that maybe if the project is a bit late, you have your docs. For me, it's only also important as having also new feature, etc. for the team.
Yes. It's too bad Brocky's not on the show today. We could give him an item to do to include this thing in the CLI by default. That'd be pretty cool.
It's funny you're talking about this, because when I started working on NGD like in 2015, I've already opened a PR into the CLI, and it got like not rejected but turned off because it was not the priority at that time. But yeah, we'll be glad to like work with Hans and Brock, Mike, to probably get this into the CLI, or at least like give them some inspiration to have something similar.
Yeah, definitely. I think that'd be a good home.
Yeah, like Minko tool, Codelizer is doing the same stuff, and a very good stuff for us during coding.
By the way, we could like imagine getting Codelizer results into Compodoc, probably. I don't know. I'm just thinking loud.
Maybe.
The whole TypeScript thing really opens the door to do a lot of this stuff easier, right? And surface a lot of stuff. So it definitely is a big key there. It's awesome.
It'd be interesting to have like all the information about your project, like your test coverage, your documentation, your README docs, your linting violations or code lint percentages. It'd be awesome to have that in like one package, and you could just run this one command, and there it is.
That's a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely, future's bright here, and this is definitely one tool that is a big addition to that. So very cool. Compodoc. What's the site again?
Sorry?
Right. Just look on GitHub for Compodoc, or
yeah, it's github.com/Compodoc.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, well, top of the hour, time to wrap up. Let's get to some picks, and then we'll head out of here. Alyssa, you have some picks for us today?
Just one. It's ngdoc.io. I've been working on it with Joe Eames, and we still have some more features that we're trying to roll out. But really, it's the unofficial place to list out anything Angular. So all resources go there, and we're hoping the more people add to it, the more it's useful to people. So check it out, ngdoc.io.
And we're going to have a future show with talking about that. So I don't know what day yet. We're still trying to figure that out, but we'll have a show talking about that as well.
Cool.
Austin.
Since we talked about so much about TypeScript, I figured I would just give my, I wrote an article this weekend talking about TypeScript. So I actually wasn't a big fan of TypeScript at first, and I published an article about like a year ago, kind of talking about why I wasn't, a big fan of it. And, I've been using it for the past year, and I basically published an article kind of touching on all the points that I had and, the progression that I had. So if you're on the fence about TypeScript, I would recommend that read.
Sweet. Vincent, you have something you want to share?
Yes, it's a tool I have started for my view about all web conferences available worldwide. And so tool, I will share the links on Twitter after, which can see all the conferences about Angular, JavaScript, TypeScript, etc. We have an agenda view and also a map view, etc. And you can see for now how many conferences there are in October worldwide. You can see it, and it's a tool I will share more after, because it's very easy to find information and see very quickly all the conferences available worldwide.
That's great. I need that. So awesome. Go ahead, check that out.
I will share after.
Perfect. And Wassim?
Yeah, actually, I have two picks today. It's all about hardware. So the first one is this beauty here. It's called the Matrix One. It's like it has tons of sensors, like to have LEDs, microphones, Zigbee, Z-Wave, NFC, anything you need if you want to start playing with IoT devices. So check it out, matrix.one, their website. The second device is this Bluetooth speaker. It has radio, alarm, nice design. But the thing I like about it, it has a screen actually with pixels, like 11 by 11 pixels, and you can draw anything you want. For instance, I can draw this stuff, you see? Or I can, do you recognize this logo? This is the Google Cloud Platform. Yeah, it's also like animated, so you
awesome.
can play with it. You could receive notifications, so if like Twitter notifications or calls. Yeah,
I love this idea.
It's called the Divo Timebox. So you can buy it on Amazon. They're probably $60, I guess, if I remember. So yeah, Divo.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
I think we're all gonna get one.
For me, I just have a little last pick is to wish we are a little in advance, but I wish a good birthday to Wassim tomorrow.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday!
All right, early happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, well, that wraps it up for our show today. thank you to our guests, Vincent and Wassim, for joining us. Really appreciate you coming on and
Thank you.
about
Thanks,
Compodoc and talking documentation. Thank you very much. And thanks to our panelists, Alyssa and Austin, as usual. And we will catch everybody next week. All right, have a good one.
Yeah.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.